Welcome back to another edition of PD and PDubs Unscripted. It's so good to be with you, and we got PDubs here with me.
Hey, PD, good to be in the house here in the studio, and great to be with everybody again. And for those who are watching on YouTube, just let's get it right out there. No, PD and I did not call and ask, what color shirt are you wearing today?
We are very matching here today.
I don't know. It's a weird, psychic mindset.
And we do this too often.
I know. This is kind of crazy.
Thankfully, I didn't wear my one polo. Yes. Then we would have been really twins.
Yeah, people would have really been wondering.
And if you are watching on YouTube, if everything goes to plan, you might see a new angle here for our podcast today.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a first here for a lot of our podcasts today, because also, if you listen to the intro song, we have a new intro song.
Yes, it's a little perked up.
Joe Latusik, our interim praise team director, I asked if he, after he came on our podcast, if he could come up with a little jingle for our theme, and he's like, he was glad to, and he even put together a intro video. So if you're watching on YouTube, there's a sweet intro video.
Oh yeah, sweet it is, and you'll really enjoy it. And for those who are listening or watching that aren't from our congregation, you'll get a little window inside of our sanctuary on that.
Right. Joe did a great job editing that. He taught me some tricks now the other day, and so going to try to incorporate them into the editing of the podcast video here.
Yeah, that's cool. So, always evolving, always changing. And, I'm just grateful my partner here knows a lot about technology, and he can make it happen. So he's a quick study with what Joel is giving him. And, we're improving the show.
Yeah, we're trying. And if it didn't go well recording on my cell phone with the other angle, it will be the same old angle of the two close-ups of us.
I think what our next goal should be in terms of adding to our podcast.
What's that?
Funny sounds, like a little button that if we
boing.
say, boing or wah, 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 kind of thing.
Am I going to have to do that post edit?
No, it would be like we'd have it right here.
We have our own little soundboard.
Yeah, we would connect, we would control it. I was at a wedding on Saturday, and, there was the DJ, and he had those kinds of sounds. So when people were giving toasts and things like that, he was making these sounds that, supported what was being said. And somebody told a joke and it didn't go over well. And so he put in there, wah, wah, wah. So it was really funny.
Man, that's really high tech,
Yeah.
See, I was thinking, oh man, depending on if we like this new angle, if it works, we almost need the sticker moved over here onto this wall and not the wall back there.
Or we could just, can we move our table? Of course, there's a lot of cords here.
Yeah, a lot of cords. Yeah, I thought about it because I'm like, if we put it there, but then you get your back of your head.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So, we're just trying things here and hoping it all works. And hopefully you like some of these changes. I know you'll love the new theme song. Kind of remind me of a little Office vibe theme at the end, the way it kind of fades out.
Okay.
Then I was kind of thinking of Frasier, the episode when he's trying to come up with the theme song for his show, and he makes this huge orchestra, and we just wanted a 10-second jingle, and he has this huge thing with Niles doing this huge monologue.
Oh, as only Frasier would, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a great show, and I was getting into the reruns there for a while, and then I kind of stopped.
Yeah, I've been watching some of the reruns because they just started a reboot of Frasier on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, you were saying.
It's
how is that?
It's
missing. I don't know. It's missing all the characters that
Niles,
make Frasier.
Doesn't have Marty.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the dad. Doesn't have Eddie, the dog, Daphne, Roz. No Bulldog.
No Bulldog.
No
what?
Bulldog.
What? Oh, no sports from Bulldog.
No. So.
Oh, golly.
But yeah, so we're not here to just talk Frasier or all of our hopefully updates that people are enjoying here on the podcast. But you came across an interesting article, which is kind of the opposite of what you normally hear for an article.
Yeah, so I was kind of just thinking of phrases,
Phrases that pay?
Phrases that pay, yeah. And, those are important phrases.
Yeah.
And there's probably one specific listener who's, really tuned in now.
Now he's going to start sending us those
phrases that pay. But anyway, I was thinking of all, common phrases that we hear in everyday life. And so I kind of wanted to go one way that says, let's look at phrases that we say that originated from the Bible. And I thought that would be fun to kind of look through. And
right, because usually the opposite of like, this isn't in the Bible, but people credit it to the Bible.
Exactly. So like I looked up those and I thought, well, maybe we talked about those before, but this is kind of a fun one. And maybe we could learn, where some of these phrases come from.
Right.
Actually, a friend of ours gave my wife Gwen and I a book of these kind of phrases.
Really?
And I got to find it at home because there's a boatload. I mean, the book is like about that thick, and it gives you a lot of background around the phrase and all of this and that. So in that spirit, an article from Lifeway Research, and I was trying to find the author. We have to give credit where credit is due. Is Aaron Earls?
Yes.
Yeah. Aaron is a senior writer at Lifeway Research. So thank you, Aaron, for supplying some content for us. And so the first phrase that pays, dun 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 dun. Okay, I don't know, just like trying to put myself like exciting music.
I know, is that like Bonanza?
I think it was. It just came out. Dun 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 dun.
Let's hope we don't get any copyright issues.
But we're always crediting. We just credited Bonanza.
Yeah, but I don't know how it works with music.
Oh, come on. It's not that close.
If I can figure it out right away.
The first one is drum roll. Brrr, there we go.
I can't do a drum roll, but I can go on the table.
Escaping by the skin of your teeth.
Yeah. I would have never thought of that from the Bible. I don't know about you or any of our listeners.
Yeah, that one, I have to confess, I just thought that was something that was generational. Like, my parents, I remember my mom using that phrase, like, oh, he just, he's getting by the skin of his teeth or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. It feels like it is an older saying because I don't feel people say that as much now. I mean, I know the saying, but I don't think I've really ever used it all that much myself.
Well, kind of just going on a little tangent. Have you found like your parents have phrases that they said through your growing up that maybe you find yourself now as an adult adopting and using?
There's probably like, I don't know, one would be like, would ask one of my parents, like, how's it going? Oh, it's just Ducky. So just Ducky Just Ducky was one that would come out.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, like just you alone,
right?
You'd be like, and then when you say those things, do you ever catch yourself going like, why did I just say that? Well, like I sound like my parents.
Well, the one I always think of, I think we've talked about, is like Hawk Harrelson and watching baseball.
Yeah.
How many sayings I have of watching baseball from growing up with Hawk Harrelson when nobody else knows what it is.
Right.
But so yeah, I get that. Like, and I'm just trying to think of like ones from my parents, and maybe I just don't even realize it.
One that is one of my mom's favorites. We'd be driving, or like my parents would be driving. I'd be in the back seat, or maybe on the front seat with my mom driving, and there's someone driving real slow in front of them. And she would always go, "Oh, look at this creepin' Lena."
Never heard.
Creepin' Lena is a slow driver on the road. So I'd be like, as a kid, going, "Creepin' Lena." That's not. How do you know her name?
So did you ever do that on trips with the kids?
Yes, I did.
And they're like, "What is Dad saying?"
I know, and I'm like, "That comes from your grandma.
Just accept it.
Just accept it. It is a family phrase.
It's gonna go down through the generations."
Yeah, I can't wait to hear one of my kids say "Creepin' Lena." Then I will know that I have done my duty.
I think 4 or 5 generations down the road, they're saying that, and they're like, "Where is that credited to?"
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, great grandpa Warren. And I'll say, no, it was grandma, great grandma. Anyway, so yes, escaping by the skin of your teeth is a reference to Job 19:20. So maybe we should look up Job 19:20. Why don't you call that one up?
Do you want me to try to do that, since you might need a little help with reading things on there?
Thank you, brother.
I mean, I could always email it to you and you can pull it up on your computer.
No, I'm good. I'm reading just fine. But like you're real quick with the draw. So
okay.
You're like quick draw McGraw.
Okay. So Job 19:20.
You didn't ask me who Quick Draw McGraw was.
I just kept on going. No, Quick and the Dead, what?
No.
No, yeah, we're just going to keep moving on here. can never go wrong with going to the Bible.
That's right.
So Job 19:20 says, "My bones stick to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth."
There you go. I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Yes.
Good old Job.
Good old Job, Yeah, so a lot of times we hear this phrase, when the hero makes a narrow escape, maybe Indiana Jones.
That, or I was saying like the old school Batman with Adam West.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, will he get out of this?
Yeah.
And it's like, he got out by the skin of his teeth.
Yep. And Batman on the 60s show, there was always like imminent danger ahead. Right. And then like the narrator before they would go to commercial was like, will Batman escape the net from the Penguin or the Riddler? Will he solve the riddle to,
And it's like, next time on Batman. Yeah. And you got to wait till the next episode.
Same time, same bat time, same bat channel. So
I feel that'd be like something that narrator would have said.
Yeah.
Oh, Batman and Robin escaped by the skin of their teeth.
And that's actually a phrase that probably Robin would say, right? If you were really a true follower of Batman and Robin.
Gee williker, Batman.
Oh, gee golly. Oh, no, that's gee golly whiz. That's the Beaver Cleaver. Gee golly.
I was almost thinking, what's the name from Andy Griffith?
Opie?
Oh, not Opie, but the guy that ran like the gas station.
Oh,
Gomer. I can see that being a Gomer Pyle.
Yeah. Oh, golly. Yep. So, yes. So, Job is the originator of that phrase, escaping by the skin of your teeth. All right. What's number 2, PD?
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Yes. So, a lot of people attribute this to Abraham Lincoln.
Ooh, Honest Abe.
Yeah. Because, he's said all good and faithful, good phrases. But he did use the phrase in the famous speech he gave. But the author is...
I'm trying to see where it has the reference to that.
There is no reference, so maybe you could do some quick Googling there for us.
Yeah, let me...
I did not prepare on that one, but apparently Jesus said that one when he was rebuffing Pharisees who were giving charges against Jesus that he was casting out demons because he himself was possessed. And Jesus uttered the phrase that would later be used by Lincoln, and I guess it became an episode of primetime soap opera and a 90s sitcom.
I always think of you see the signs of if somebody went to 2 different universities or here the Cubs or Sox for a house divided.
Yeah.
But here in Matthew 12:25, knowing their thoughts, he said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is laid waste, and no city or house divided against itself will stand.
There you go. So a house divided cannot stand. And as you said, it's a lot of times in jest, related to, we hear it around here with sports teams. If there's the wife is a Bear fan or the husband is a Packer fan, or, Cub and Cardinal or Cub and Sox, that kind of thing. But it's true of organizations, it's true of families, it's true of organizations, true of churches,
right? True
of nations. I mean, it's true.
Well, that's how the verse starts off there with kingdoms. I think of nations that when they're divided, you're going in 2 separate directions.
Yeah.
So you're just going to split and everything's going to come crashing down.
Yeah, and if we think about our own nation, I wish I would have remembered this before going on air, but there is someone who said that, as we look at America, America will come to its end internally, in and of itself, kind of like a civil war.
Right.
And so just like it's so divided as a country, it will come to ruins, right? Mm-hmm. And so can't remember. There is probably a famous author or politician who said something along those lines, but
yeah, and here in this case in Matthew, it's talking about blasphemy. Mm-hmm. That whole debate about how can I be from Satan if I'm God, and the house divided?
Yeah,
it's gonna come crashing down.
Right. Yeah, and they're like, well, if you're casting out demons, you must have a demon in yourself because only a demon would pay attention to another demon. And he's like,
Right.
So so that's number 2. And number 3. No, that was a bad drum roll.
It's okay.
Can't get the tongue going.
So, yeah, that's a drop in the bucket.
A drop in the bucket. Yes, that is from Isaiah 40, verse 15.
And I have that ready.
Yeah.
Behold, the nations are like a drop from a bucket and are counted as the dust on the scales. Behold, he takes up the coastlands like fine dust.
Yeah. Drop from a bucket, drop in a bucket, I guess. In that,
I was thinking like spending money. That's just a drop in the bucket.
Drop in the bucket. Like, yeah, it's like it's got no value. It's of no consequence.
I like here, it's compared to the amount of pizza a student ministry consumes in a year.
Yeah. Yeah, even as God says in Isaiah 40, it's like, I think it's the same sense, like a drop in a bucket. It's got no significance, right? Like, they're considered as a speck of dust in the scales. So like a speck of dust is like, who would care about a speck of dust? And that's where nations will drop like a bucket. So that's where that one comes from.
Another one I did not know was in Scripture. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that one, I was like, I didn't know that, so just being flat out honest. Next one, I think we all pretty much know. It's not a phrase, but it's just a term. Right. And sometimes it's a term that's related to, huge athletes or enormous people, like, football player.
He's a behemoth.
He's a behemoth. Yeah.
So that is the word.
Yeah. Like Dick Butkus was probably a behemoth.
In his day and age.
Yeah. He was a big man.
Well, I think of like Shaq.
Shaq
was a behemoth.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, I mean, all Shaq had to do was back up in the lane, and he'd clear out the lane because he's a behemoth.
Especially in his later days, like in his early days, he was pretty quick.
He was thinner.
Yeah, and he was quick up and down that court.
Mm-hmm. He could go coast to coast on a jam. But you know what? No one ran the coast to coast like Joakim Noah.
He hustled. That man, he became one of my all-time favorite Bulls after being so mad when we drafted him.
Yeah. Ask my kids, like when we were in Fort Wayne, I'd be watching the Bulls and I'd see Joakim Noah take the ball from one end to the other and jam it. And my phrase that pays was coast to coast with the jokes. And they're like, "Oh, Dad, you're hilarious."
But yeah, he was a grinder, a hustler out there.
He was. So yeah, a behemoth comes from Job 40. Verses 15 to 24.
Especially, mainly like verse 15, Behold, behemoth, which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. And then, I've always heard that almost compared to that might have been like a bronchiosaurus that he's describing there. Because Job is considered one of the earliest written books of the Bible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it makes sense because like some are like, well, it's an elephant. Well, elephant doesn't have a cedar-like tail.
Yeah.
That tail is very small.
So that's not Bigfoot either.
I don't know. I just read something the other day that somebody spotted Bigfoot.
Really?
In the West Coast somewhere.
Speaking of Bigfoot, you know how memories come up on Facebook?
Yeah.
So I used to watch the one of the show just for mindless, entertainment.
Harry and the Hendersons?
No. Well, I watched that movie, but this was a show about the Bigfoot chasers. I can't remember. And there was a guy named Bobo.
Bobo, the Bigfoot chaser?
And he was kind of a behemoth looking guy. And they would make poor Bobo go out on the side of the road and strike a Bigfoot pose and like walk like Bigfoot. And, he had like this mullet and thing. So I don't know why I went this route, but we were talking about behemoths and Bigfoots. So anyway, on my Facebook post, it had a memory of me driving by on Route 14, just as you cross the state line. There is a restaurant called the Bigfoot Inn. and on my Facebook post, I said, I think I found where Bigfoots eat. So I said, I'm going to go in and see if I can locate one.
Was Bobo there?
I didn't go in.
So his real name is, if I found the right person, James Fay.
Okay.
He was 6'4".
Yeah, that's Bobo.
He looks pretty intimidating.
He's a teddy bear of a guy.
You There is a YouTube. I don't want to open because I don't want to mess with the audio.
Yeah.
It's the YouTube. When I first type him in, is Bobo proves why he is the top Sasquatch investigator.
Yes.
So he's a charismatic personality, and he's given his most memorable moments of finding Bigfoot. So when you get done listening to this or watching on YouTube, just type in Bobo the Bigfoot Hunter, and you will find this, and you will be just filled with hours of entertainment. I bet.
You'll know the trappings of my mind, so that I get
the
easily
rabbit holes that we go down.
Yeah. So anyway, Behemoth is got to be bigger than a Bigfoot, absolutely, by the way that you read and described it. So that's where Behemoth came from. And it is, it's God's creation. Poor Behemoth got a bad rap.
He's just a big guy.
He's just a big guy. He's God's creation. We should love the Behemoth.
It's like a teddy bear. Like people say, you're a big cuddly teddy bear. People are like, oh, that's not intimidating.
Yeah, and it should not be like a negative term. Like it should just you're big and strong like a behemoth.
You're strong like bull.
Strong like bull. Yes. All right. The next one
This next one, number 5. Doesn't come from what happened in like 2003, October of almost like 20 years ago.
Steve Bartman.
We just probably celebrate that anniversary.
All right, let's. Oh, it's too bad we don't have like listener comments. Like, okay, let's just like give them a chance to respond. So if we said number 5 is Steve Bartman, but there's a word that describes Steve Bartman, what would it be? Do 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 do.
What is scapegoat?
Yes, ding, 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 ding. What is scapegoat?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the scapegoat.
Poor guy.
That poor guy.
Got his life ruined.
I mean,
just because he tried to go for a foul ball, and Moises Alou did not help the situation.
Moises, I think, inflamed the situation.
And let's be honest, Alex Gonzalez should have been able to field the next play.
Hello. A ground ball right to him.
You got your own...
let it go through the wickets.
Got your own Bill Buckner over there at shortstop.
Yep, and then the house of cards came down because the play after that was out to Sammy Sosa, and he overthrew the bag, and it was just like Sammy Sosa.
Did he play for the Cubs?
Yeah, he was kind of a scapegoat too in the end.
And what, he had Kerry Wood or Mark Pryor go in Game 7?
Yeah, I know.
But scapegoat.
Scapegoat is... when things go wrong, like,
they get the blame.
When in 2003, you got the World Series 7 outs away. Was it 7 or 5? It was 5.
Something. I just remember
5
I was
outs away.
hanging out with some friends in Grosse Hall at Concordia River Forest freshman year.
That just hurt so bad.
You could only imagine my joy.
Oh, I'll bet. I mean, I was like... We had the Leon Durham ground ball in 1984, that went through his legs, comparable to the Bill Buckner one, but he was then on the Red Sox, and now, Bartman. But anyway, we digress again.
That scapegoat of putting the blame on someone else. And, that comes from the Old Testament tradition of putting the sins of the people on the goat.
Right.
That would then go off into the wilderness to ultimately die. So it took the sins away from the people and took the blame and punishment, so to speak.
Right. And go out into the wilderness. And in Scripture, wilderness means like death or just away from God.
And what did that goat ever do to get...
Poor goat.
Just got blamed for the people's sins.
Yeah.
He was those goats were just minding their own business.
Yeah, just sitting in the pen, being a goat.
They're like, come here, you two. And they probably didn't know what was next.
You ever been around a goat?
Maybe at a zoo or something.
They can be kind of nasty.
Don't they? No, do they kick?
They kick and they they butt you with their head.
Because camels spit, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think of Aladdin. Like, be careful, they spit or something. I think it's in Aladdin, the genie says that.
Right. So this is from Leviticus 16:10. You want to dial that one up?
Yeah, let me change. It's interesting. Like, they take me to, like, the random translations. Like, when I clicked the link on the article, that one took me to the King James Version. But I don't even read the King James Version.
Well, it's certainly okay.
Here's the ESV version, which is what I've been reading for most of them. But the goat on which the lot fell for Azazel shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement over it, that it may be sent away into the wilderness to Azazel.
Yeah, and that word, isn't that Azazel in Hebrew, that's the word that means scapegoat, I believe.
That's what I was just looking up. In Jewish legends, a demon or evil spirit to whom, in the ancient rite of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, a scapegoat was sent bearing the sins of the people.
Okay.
That's a big word.
Yeah, that is. And so there you go. The goat didn't do anything, but he took on the blame and paid the price. So his life was ruined.
Right.
Cast out into the wilderness, into the darkness, carrying away the sins of the people. So being a scapegoat.
And number 6 is one that I don't hear too often anymore, but gird your loins.
Yeah, and you had mentioned the King James. Actually, that's the one you want to look up for this one in Job 38:3. That's where that word gird your loins comes.
Here it comes, Job 38:3. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me.
Yeah, and in the English Standard Version, it says, dress like a man for action. So that's like, all right, we're going to have a squaring off kind of thing, and dress like a man, get ready.
Trying to look up just for curiosity's sake the Message, how they put it together.
Oh, that ought to be interesting. What is that?
So, because the Message doesn't say verse by verse.
Right.
So it says, why do you confuse the issue? Why do you talk without knowing what you're talking about? Pull yourself together, Job. Up on your feet. Stand tall. I have some questions for you, and I want some straight answers.
Ooh, man.
Feels like it's like Jack Nicholson on trial with Tom Cruise and a few good men.
You can't handle the truth.
Stand up. I got questions for you, buddy.
That was my Jack Nicholson face.
The face was fine. I don't know if the voice was so much Jack.
That wasn't good. So Job 3. Now, the article points out Ephesians 6:1 as well, but I could not find any reference with regard to girding up one's loin.
So Ephesians 6:14 in the King James.
14 or 1?
14.
Oh, because mine says Ephesians 6:1.
It's 1, but when I click on it, it takes me to Bible Gateway.
Oh, there you go.
So,
all righty.
In verse 14 in the King
there
James,
it is, sir. Yes, indeed.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about the truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. Yeah. Loins girt about.
Past tense. Having your loins girt. That sounds like it hurts.
Yeah. Like I'm almost picturing, and maybe because I just preached on the prodigal son, how like the father would have girded up his loins, right, when he ran to his son.
Well, he would have had to hold up his robe so he wouldn't trip over it. And that, was kind of like a thing where people would be like,
shameful.
Shameful is the word. What is that old man doing?
Showing his legs.
Showing his legs. That's just not right.
No.
So he wasn't really having his loins girt. He was just pulling up his.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if truly what gird up your loins means, but that's what I think. Like pulling up your.
Yeah. Well, I think it does have something like that. Like get in, get in the posture, and like
get in like the 3-point stance.
Like almost like a sumo wrestler.
Boom, boom.
Get ready for action, man.
Man, this is going off the rails.
Oh, it is. See, leave it to me.
Should we go to the next one?
Yes, please.
The writing is on the wall.
Oh, yeah. The writing is on the wall. Now this one, usually that relates to, events that seem to lead inevitably to a specific outcome. So
usually I could feel like a negative outcome.
Yeah. It's very predictable. And it's like, you better see this. The writing's on the wall. It's going to happen, that kind of thing. And apparently this came from Daniel chapter 5, and there's really no specific verse other than in the beginning of Daniel chapter 5, and maybe we could kind of look that one up.
Let's
see. So King Belshazzar held a great feast of 1,000 of his nobles and drank wine in the presence.
You skipped on to verse 5.
Did I?
No, I would say skip to verse 5 might be.
Oh, got you. Yeah, I was just giving a little background.
Oh, okay.
That's all I was doing.
Oh, my bad.
So there was this,
party.
Everybody's partying down, drinking a lot of wine, getting a little under the influence.
Having a good time.
Having a good time. They drank wine and praised their gods and made of gold and silver and bronze. So they praised idols or their own gods, right? And then it says, at that moment, the fingers of a man's hand appeared and began writing on the plaster of the king's palace wall next to the lampstand. So there it is. The writing is on the wall.
You almost got to wonder, did the people think it was like Acts? We had too much to drink? And
well, I mean, if you look at, as it goes on, it says, as the king watched the hand that was writing, his face turned pale, and his thoughts so terrified him that his hip joints shook and his knees knocked together. You get a little shaky leg.
A little scared there.
You ever been like shaky legs?
Oh, yeah.
Just a little knee knocking.
And anytime you get me on like a height thing with a high dive board or something.
You know, it's like,
think of the old cartoon.
And that's how I felt, when you and I were going up that one mountain, Camelback, and I looked up to the top and my knees started shaking and knocking.
It was not fun. It was a tough one going up that one when I did the day.
And it brought some words to my mouth that I was not happy with. So the king's knees are knocking together, and then the king called out to bring mediums, Chaldeans, and astrologers, and he said, these are wise men. You guys figure this out. So I think he was like freaked out.
And then Daniel came and interpreted that, hey, your kingdom, bye-bye.
Yeah.
And so that's why it has that negative connotation. The writing was on the wall that his kingdom was not his.
It was coming to an end. And then at the very end, after Daniel gave him the interpretation, then Balthasar gave an order that they should clothe Daniel in purple,
which is a royal color.
Yeah, placed a gold chain around his neck and issued a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler of the kingdom. And that very night, Balthasar, king of the Chaldeans, was killed. So the writing was on the wall.
Poor Balthasar.
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't feel too sorry for him.
Probably not. Because, a leopard can't change his spots, so he couldn't change his spot.
Hey, now, look at you.
Look at that transition there. Seamless.
That was really seamless, brother. And so apparently, this phrase, a leopard can't change his spots, it says from Porter Wagner and Elvis to the Roots and Blondie, the phrase has provided many musicians a lyrical turn of phrase. Supposedly you are what you are. Just like a leopard cannot change its spots, a person cannot change their nature.
I'm trying to skim through Jeremiah 13 here, and I'm...
Yeah, look at verse 23, I think.
Oh. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots?
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from. I didn't quite get down to verse 23.
Well, I think maybe you got it.
Well, you did once you said verse 23.
Okay.
But yeah, so that whole idea that, it's almost like to me, like you can't teach a dog an old dog new tricks. That's not going to change. You might say that's how you describe a Lutheran. We don't change our spots. We're the same. We don't like change.
We don't like it at all. No, sir, we don't.
So people aren't going to like our podcast now that we changed the theme song and the camera angle.
I know.
Possibly
They're going to stop watching and listening.
That's the end of PD and PDubs Unscripted. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Might as well just say another one bites the dust.
Oh.
Boom, boom.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Nice transition there.
Yes, sir. One good turn deserves another.
With a little Freddie Mercury there.
Yeah. Ha! Another one bites the dust. Ha, ha. And another one going. That first time I heard Another One Bites the Dust was in the 1977 Super Bowl.
Really?
With my new favorite team, second, Denver Broncos, the Orange Crush. Craig Morton was the quarterback, and he couldn't move. He had bad knees, so he go back in the pocket and either protect him or he's sacked. And they played the Cowboys, and the Cowboys just killed them.
I'm starting to think you like the color orange.
I probably do.
Because the Denver Broncos, the Baltimore
Orioles, yeah.
Your secondary teams all have orange.
Yeah, all the Bears have a little orange.
They do.
Yeah. So.
Do you like those orange jerseys?
They're all right.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, bite the dust comes from Psalm 72, verse 9.
Yeah, so it's not really bite the dust in Psalm 72:9. So why don't you read what it says?
May desert tribes bow down before him, and his enemies lick the dust.
Lick the dust. So, whether you're biting the dust or licking the dust,
doesn't sound not good.
Bad. It's not enjoyable.
Thought you were doing your Dana Carvey, George Bush impression.
Maybe I was, and I didn't even know it. It's bad.
It's not good.
Like jackals in the desert, and they just lick the dust. So lick the dust, bite the dust, Psalm 72:9. The earliest citation of this is from a Scottish author in 1750.
We don't even get his name?
No.
Poor guy.
Come on, Aaron. Why didn't you tell us that?
We like to give credit where credit's due.
That's right. But I think he wants us to dig in.
Yeah, because we want to do everything by the letter of the law here.
Holy cow. Man, oh man. That's the next one. If you hadn't guessed, PD is on a roll. So
once in a while.
The letter of the law. See, you do things by the letter of the law. And that comes from 2 Corinthians 3, verse 6.
Which says, he who has made us sufficient to be ministers of a new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life.
Yeah, so there it's inferred that what is the letter, the letter of the law, God's law kills so that the gospel can
give life.
Give life, right. And so, yes, they weren't supposed to live by the letter of the law, but receive life from the Spirit. And, there's a lot of people who are, letter of the law type people. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then there's people who say, go by the spirit of the law. And so there's going to be some leeway or bending. And then sometimes you got a letter of the law person meeting a spirit of the law person, and where do you come together, right? And but here it says a person supposedly can obey the letter of the law, a literal interpretation, and miss out on the spirit, the intention of it. And every parent knows how close a kid can get to hitting their sibling without actually hitting them, right? So,
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching.
Yeah. And antagonizing.
Right. Well, even students you think about in school, they know kind of where that tipping point is of where that letter of the law is. I can get this far. Mm-hmm. Or you think of driving, and if you're driving and okay, can I go 1 mile per over?
Yeah.
2 miles?
So
when you get to that 5, that's,
That's the spirit of the law. The letter is 60.
But I might go 65.
65 or 60, but I can get away with 65. Or maybe even 69. But if I go 10 miles an hour over, then I'll get pulled over. Right?
Yeah, because, those times, I don't know, are you being a salt of the earth? A good person?
A good person, just being, the good old salt of the earth. And that is the 11th phrase that pays, is the salt of the earth is from Scripture. And Jesus, again, is the author of this in Matthew 5:13.
You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. This one I feel is a common one that, maybe because it's a very well-known passage.
Yeah, I think people would know that one. If you say, someone's the salt of the earth, you're kind of giving a positive reflection of them. They're a real good person. You can count on them. They're dependable. They're honest.
You're the salt of the earth.
Oh, God bless you, brother. No, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So, yes, please join our Mutual Admiration Society.
Right. Where we just give positive feedback to one another.
Yes. But yeah, that's where, Jesus wants us to be the salt of the earth. He doesn't want us to lose our zest or our tastiness for the gospel and in sharing it, and that we shouldn't become bland in our faith, right? And lose its zest or tastiness, kind of way to say it. But that is the 11th phrase that pays, and that concludes our list that we found from Lifeway Research. So we hope that you've had a lot of fun listening to us as we've had fun, talking about this and kicking around other phrases that pay.
Yeah.
And, it's too bad we don't have a 12th phrase that we can wrap this up.
Well, we're in the 11th hour here.
Oh, hi-oh.
There you go.
Yes, waiting till the 11th hour. So
all
right.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, and see you next time.
PD and PDubs, unscripted.